So deep in the jungles of Cambodia, there's this legendary, almost mythical place called Koh Ker. For just a flash in time, it was the booming capital of the mighty Khmer Empire, and then poof, it just vanished back into the jungle.
I mean, just look at this. It's an absolutely incredible structure. A massive, seven-tiered pyramid just completely swallowed by the jungle. For a whole millennium, it was basically a ghost city. Its entire story just hidden from the world.
And that right there, that's the central mystery we're diving into. Why on earth would a powerful king drag the capital of one of history's greatest empires out to this remote jungle, build a wonder like this, and then have the whole thing abandoned just 16 years later? Doesn't make a lot of sense, does it?
All right, so to answer that, we've got to go find this lost city ourselves. Our journey starts deep in the Cambodian forest, looking for a place that was once called Lingapura.
You know, the first thing that really hits you is just how isolated it is. Koh Ker is about 75 miles from the world-famous Angkor complex. Now, this wasn't some suburb. Building it out here was a deliberate move, a complete break from the empire's traditional home base.
Its original names actually give us some pretty big clues. It was called Lingapura, which means the city of lingams. You know, those sacred stone symbols of the Hindu god Shiva. It also had another name, Chokgargaryar, which might mean iron tree forest. So right away, you get this picture of a place with both deep religious meaning and this really raw natural power.
A city this massive and grand doesn't just sprout from the ground, right? It takes a seriously powerful and ambitious ruler, and the guy behind it all was this enigmatic king, Jayavarman IV.
Now, Jayavarman IV is this really fascinating historical figure, mostly because historians are still debating about him. Was he a legitimate ruler? Well, on one hand, he did marry the half-sister of the old king, and there's some evidence that Koh Ker was his ancestral turf, which would give him a solid claim. But on the other hand, was he a usurper? By totally breaking with tradition and moving the capital away from Angkor, some historians think he was making a serious power play, basically seizing control of the empire for himself.
So during his pretty short but incredibly impactful reign, he poured literally everything he had into this new capital. We found inscriptions that talk about a super strict tax system he set up, funneling immense resources and labor from all over the country into this one singular vision, to build a new center of the world, something grander than anyone had ever seen before.
And wow, what a city he built! The architecture at Koh Ker wasn't just big, it was totally revolutionary. And the speed at which it all came together, it's just incredible.
Think about this for a second. In just over a decade, his crews built around 40 temples. The speed and the scale are just, well, they're almost unimaginable. And at the very heart of it all was one incredible towering structure.
A pyramid that shot 36 meters, that's nearly 120 feet, straight up into the sky. It would have totally dominated the jungle landscape for miles and miles around.
And this was the absolute centerpiece, the seven-tiered pyramid known as Prang. It was the state temple, the religious and political axis for the entire empire. Basically, a man-made mountain built to connect the king directly to the gods.
And here is where Jayavarman just completely threw out the rulebook. See, traditional Khmer capitals, like Angkor, were built concentrically, kind of like a mandala, expanding out from a central point. Koh Ker was totally different. It was laid out on a single, powerful, straight line. Now, that wasn't just an architectural whim. It was a bold statement of a new, absolute kind of order, a whole new vision for the empire. So what was the crowning glory of this whole new world order? Well, inscriptions describe a colossal lingam, that symbol of the god Shiva that stood right on top of the pyramid. It was apparently over 4 meters high, and they declared it the tallest and most beautiful in the whole empire. You just have to imagine what that looked like. Sadly, that incredible piece of art is lost to time now.
Okay, so if this city was so incredible, so magnificent, why was it abandoned? The capital's spectacular, but very brief life was followed by a long, long period of silence.
And the answer is just surprisingly abrupt. After Jayavarman IV died, his son ruled from Koh Ker for only 3 years. And then, in 944 AD, the very next king moved the capital right back to Angkor, just like that. Maybe the whole vision was too tied to one man, you know, too radical to last. And so this city of wonders was simply left behind.
For the next 1,000 years, the jungle just took over. Tree roots tore through the stonework, and the jungle canopy hid the temples completely from view. Koh Ker became a ghost city, and all of its immense, priceless artistic treasures were just left vulnerable to nature,
and to looters. The art from Koh Ker was truly a high point of Khmer sculpture, but centuries of looting just stripped the site bare. This one quote really captures the tragedy of it all. It says, "None of the immense, expressive, and beautiful sculptures are left at the site. Those masterpieces are now scattered in museums and private collections all over the world."
So the story picks up again in the 1880s, when some French explorers stumbled on the ruins. But unfortunately, that discovery just kicked off a whole new wave of looting. Then, in the 1930s, researchers finally started to formally document the place. But the real game changer was in 2004. Using satellite imagery, they realized the true scale of the city. It wasn't 50 monuments, but 184, all hidden in the forest.
But this story of loss actually has a pretty triumphant final chapter. After 1,000 years of silence, the world is finally recognizing Koh Ker for the treasure that it is. Its legacy is finally being reclaimed.
And here it is, the moment of triumph. On September 17, 2023, after all those centuries of silence and neglect, Koh Ker was officially named a UNESCO World Heritage Site. This designation finally gives it the global recognition it has deserved for so long.
And this UNESCO title, it's more than just a fancy honor. It's an official acknowledgement that Koh Ker represents the pinnacle of Khmer art and architecture. And more importantly, it provides crucial support to protect this incredible, once-lost capital for all of us, for all future generations.
The story of Koh Ker, a lost capital literally reclaimed from the jungle, is just truly incredible. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other forgotten cities, what other lost masterpieces are still out there, just hidden, waiting for us to find them?